Hi patrons, this is a full moon in Cancer reading. It's also about the lunar nodes that just switched on January 11th. It is also a little bit of insight in regards to this year, Mars retrograde, and what we are seeing with natural disasters and behavior. Okay, but before we dive into this reading, thank you for being here. It is so helpful to me if you like this video and subscribe to the channel. My Patreon also features exclusive manifesting content and more astrological and tarot info. I am Yam, aka Hinduitive, and let's just take 3 deep breaths together. Close your eyes. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Softly open your eyes. Okay, thanks for being here. Let's get it. So I'm going to address the nodes first, since that's already happened. It occurred on January 11th. And the nodes, the lunar nodes, are in their signs for 18 months. The North Node is about what we're charging into, what we're growing into, what we've set our sights on. The South Node is about the methodology, how we get there. It's about our patterns and habits. And so when you're looking at the nodes, and you in your chart also have a nodal placement. In Vedic astrology and in Hinduism, it's karmic and dharmic. So it's the karma, what you've brought with you in the South Node, and the ways in which you need to work through your action or figure out your methods. And the North Node, your destiny in this life, your karma. Your dharma is what is your actual purpose and how to utilize your karma from the past life. That is a slightly deeper conversation, but for now, what you need to know is the North Node, what we're moving towards, and the sign that the North Node is in is the environment around that. The South Node is the methodology and how we get there. Now, what's somewhat complicated about nodes is that they are always in diametric opposition. What makes that hard is that generally, for example, with Virgo and Pisces, we are moving into a North Node of Pisces. So because Pluto has moved into Aquarius, we're feeling a little bit more dreamy. Our intuition is spiked and potent in a way that if you don't deal with your intuition on a daily basis, and even if you do, speaking from personal experience, you're finding it hard to ground yourself. A Pisces North Node is also, I'm going to think the very best of every situation, which is helpful. So what we have to think about with Pisces and Virgo, Pisces, we want to be really dreamy. We're dreaming of an ideal world. Virgo, there has to be a plan. There has to be a long-term plan for things to stay intact and to come to fruition. I will say, I know we're getting down to the wire in regards to the inauguration. I just want to encourage you to continue to be patient and allow things to unfold. I also think there is this is Virgo methodology, there is some merit to embracing everything being long-term. I know we all want to snap our fingers and fix everything. I know we just want to run the tape back and change the election and change COVID and change 2016, but we're here, right? We're here. This is what we're dealing with. I can tell you, as somebody that has been pretty central to very many national and natural emergencies, that it isn't useful for you to cycle into fear. And this North Node in Pisces is begging us to become more spiritual than materialistic. It's begging us to listen to our intuitions. It's begging us to hone our intuitions. It's begging us to be artists and to create in the face of trauma and natural disasters and distress. And Virgo is saying, in the South Node is saying, why don't you come up with a long-term plan for that? What if your creative endeavors manifested into a nonprofit? Or what if your idealistic world view, Pisces, became a long-term plan that involves you volunteering every week, that involves you coming up with a spiritual plan for yourself? You're going to sit down and meditate every day, because what I can tell you about 2025, and that I've been saying for a long time, and the thing is, there's no way to emphasize it enough. There's no way to overemphasize it. There's no way to underemphasize it, really, because the unfortunate part of being the messenger when it comes to astrology and psychic intuition is that for the most part, people don't realize it was true, it was a true prediction or a true forecast until they're in the middle of it. And that is fine. I don't think that people are obligated to believe in anything, honestly. All I can do is tell you what's happening everywhere right now is a symptom of a much larger problem, which is that the energy between the divine masculine and feminine has become totally out of whack. And that's another way that you can look at these nodes. In Vedic astrology, we call the nodes Rahu, North Node, Ketu, South Node. And it's called the dragon's head and the dragon's tail. And if you think about the balance of masculine and feminine energy, Rahu is very masculine energy. It's very, I'm breathing fire onto this thing, I'm just going to make it explode if I don't want to deal with it. The tail is more like, oh, look at what this mess that's been created. I need to like slither around and see what actually needs to happen. So in terms of the nodes switching and our worldview, Pisces is the rise of the divine feminine. It's the rise of this really psychic, intuitive, nurturing, artistic, expressive energy. And Virgo is the kind of woman behind us that's saying, okay, those dreams are very nice. That's lovely. What's the plan? And the truth is, you do have to have a plan for your community, which is more the Pluto and Aquarius aspect of everything. But Virgo represents piety. It represents faith. It also represents abstinence. And I'm saying abstinence because I mean abstaining from that which can hinder your spiritual progression. So that is important information because the nodes last for 18 months. So we will have the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo until July 27th, 2026. As you can imagine, the way things are going right now, this is an opposition that will be more difficult. For example, like the last nodal position that we were in, Aries and Libra, yes, Aries is fire and is war motivated, but Libra is air and can fuel it and can guide it a little bit and is more interested in the overall justice of things. But now what we've moved into is a very heady, very esoteric state of mind that is not currently supported by our 3D. It's not currently supported by the structures that are in place, which is why we're witnessing the literal burning and the just downfall of these patriarchal, imperialist structures. So it can't be comfortable and it won't be comfortable. And I don't want to sugarcoat it too much and say that it's going to be easy, but I can tell you that it is going to be fine and very zoomed out. And again, I'm saying this as somebody that's in the middle of these wildfires right now. From a very zoomed out perspective, it's feasible to assume that we are actually moving towards something better. Hang in there, but be prepared. Keep dreaming, Pisces, Virgo, but be prepared. Trust your gut, Pisces, but listen to logic, Virgo. That's where we are for the next 18 months. That gets us into the full moon in Cancer, which is happening right now as we speak at 2:26 Pacific Standard Time. Today is Monday, January 13th. A full moon is about releasing and letting go. A full moon is also hyped up emotions. It's something coming to a head. It is a purge. I want to be careful about using the word purge because I feel like people are using that in a violent, out of context way in regards to like looting and crime in Los Angeles with the wildfires. Like all I have seen from a firsthand account, having gone to volunteer centers yesterday, is a bunch of people coming together and creating a long-term plan, which again, back to the nodal stuff, Pisces, dreaming of a better society, Virgo, having a plan to implement that. But the full moon in Cancer today is notable because it's the first full moon of the year. Welcome. It's emotional, obviously, but Cancer rules the divine feminine, nurturing, dreams, the ocean, water generally, ebb and flow, malleability. And with the recent nodal shift to Pisces, this is a lot of water. This is a lot of emotion-driven media coverage. This is a lot of hazy. There's a Neptune transit happening right now too that I didn't make a note of, but I will leave a comment and say what that is. But also, anytime Neptune's involved, there's a veil over our eyes. Nothing is as it seems. And the full moon in Cancer happening with a week left until an alleged TikTok ban, I think that there will be a stay for the TikTok ban, but I don't know. The energy is so convoluted and has been for so many months, and it almost feels like very many timelines are playing out. Not to get too woo, but where we are, where you are, you're on my timeline, I'm on your timeline. Where we are, this is a time of heightened emotion and also the divine feminine rising and not forcing but working its way through to get to the head of the line and get everybody in order, because even though a Cancer is very sensitive, they are also very dependable. And in this full moon in Cancer, I think we're letting go of a lot of the nurturing that we hoped to receive from our government. The people that are supposed to nurture us and that were meant to nurture our parents and our grandparents globally didn't. They didn't. Out of balance masculine energy has been the story for the last 248 years in America, and the transition to divine feminine energy can't be clean. And the full moon in Cancer, I think, is encouraging us to just feel everything acutely and to understand that our light can't actually be put out by anything external. As I said that, my 2 little ring lights went out on my phone. Thankfully, it's broad daylight, so hopefully it didn't make that much of a difference, but your light cannot be put out by something outside of you. 2025 is very much a year about you needing to become peaceful. It's why I made the Patreon free. It's why as soon as the wildfires calm down and as soon as I'm in a truly safe place, I'm going to start teaching yoga. It's why we're going to do spiritual book club. You have to commit to the woo. For the next 18 months. You have to. You don't have time to not commit to your spirituality. And I know if you're listening to me that you are somewhat committed, but I'm talking about boots on the ground, wading through the mud, torchlight on the front of our foreheads, digging and exploring and healing. The full moon in Cancer is heightened emotion and is encouraging us to feel and to nurture and to let go of anything that does not nurture and to let go of any tendencies that we have to not nurture. It's encouraging us to sink into our divine feminine energy. But I also will say the full moon is conjunct, aka hanging out with Mars. And what's unique about Mars right now? I'm glad you asked. Mars is retrograde, as in it has stopped. There's no motion. It is stand still and has dipped back into the sign of Cancer. Mars was in Leo, which is aggressive and a lot, but Mars is fairly happy there simply because Mars is ruled by Aries and Leo is like the bro that's, yeah, dude, you should totally do that. That's Mars Leo energy. Mars Cancer energy is more like, That is so disgusting. Why are you doing that? That's how you're going to go about that. It's aggressive, but it's also this, the thing I think of is the trope of a man coming home from work and just needing his wife to shut up for 15 minutes while he has his scotch and let him settle in and settle down because he's providing for this family. Mars retrograde in Cancer is, I don't really stand for any of that. And while you're sitting down, settling, having your scotch and needing to just quiet down, I've been in utter chaos, taking care of everything at this house, unable to even sit down for 15 minutes to have a drink of scotch, a nip of scotch. So that's the opposing energy that we're dealing with, even though generally there are always exceptions. But when we say things are conjunct, we're like they're working together, but things working together isn't always a good thing, right? Again, like going back to this kind of schoolyard boy group analogy, the worst thing that can ever happen to a bully is that they make friends or meet people that are insecure enough to commit, which we're seeing on a very large scale globally. So Mars retrograding, aka dipping back into or standing still within the sign of Cancer, which is what our full moon is in, means a full moon that's very emotional, boohoo, in Cancer, and a Mars that's, I want to get out of here, and I'm also in this weird feminine nurturing sign, and that's making me way more angry. So I'm going to be way more emotional, and I'm going to act out. If you follow me on TikTok or on Instagram, maybe you know that somebody tried to light my front yard on fire yesterday in the midst of these wild fires. And that is very like indicative of the kind of chaotic energy that all of these transits are bringing. I didn't pull any cards for this reading specifically. I am going to do a separate video and tarot pull, but sometimes divination tools outside of astrology, outside of things that really map things out and are like, this lasts for this long, this is what's happening with this, are not super useful. I don't know how useful it will be at this particular moment for me to be like, oh, the tower, weird, is something around you burning down? I'm just using my discernment for that, but I am going to do a tarot pull for people that are interested in that work or that perspective. I know how hard it is out there. I know how dystopian this feels. Like right now, I'm making this video for you. My go bags, my emergency go bags, have been repacked and are just out of the frame. I have a literal hatchet next to me. I also have a Swiss Army knife in my pocket. I'm not here to tell you I don't understand and I'm not experiencing how dark and scary things are right now. But in the vein of the nodes being in Pisces and Virgo, Pisces, I am really somebody, let me put these down. Let me put this back in my pocket. I am really somebody that believes in the general and broad good will of people. I am somebody that obviously believes that things are more spiritual than what we realize. I don't think any of this is like really real. I think it's our real experience, but I think everything is much broader than that. But Virgo, I will have a plan, and I'm not trying to be unprepared or underprepared, which is why it's really important to me that this astrological information goes out. And also another video I'll do is just generally channeling stuff for January. But I need people to further embrace the dreamy and logical aspect of things. It's the same as I believe you should be taking care of yourself holistically and also getting vaccinated and taking medicine and taking advantage of science. There's no one truth. Everything has a little bit of truth to it. And the lunar nodes switching to Virgo and Pisces, the full moon in Cancer, Mars retrograde in Cancer, all of these are like one very staunch energy with one very flowy emotional energy. So you just have to embrace it. And the only way out is through. And if you're scared, just try to take a deep breath. And above all, let's just do our best.